can see how it's come down here. Now what this is doing is really slimming the face and giving me that really chiseled kind of cheekbone. We're not just focusing on this area, but by bringing it down, it's actually slimming the lower part of my face too. Welcome back to another educational beauty video, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you makeup techniques to transform your face, but in a good way, so you still look like you. Now if you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you never miss any of my future videos. And don't forget, I'm over on Instagram. You can go check out my Instagram for reels, unboxing, and everything I get up to when I'm not filming for YouTube. Now we can head straight into the video. I'm excited about this video because I feel like it's kind of like just a mix of tips and tricks that you can use to just kind of like transform your face. But it isn't in any kind of like drastic way. It's a combination of techniques that I use, not necessarily all together, that I feel you can take away from it. You know, you can take any technique that you see and apply it to your usual makeup routine, and that could be great for you, you know, because it's just a way to kind of either lift the face or disguise certain things, or just kind of like just transform it in a good way, which is exactly what the video title is. So let's move on. Now I haven't got anything on my face. This doesn't mean this is a entire look. This is just up until probably the end of the base, maybe some little add-ons as well at the end. I'm going to start with my eye cream. I'm using my Winged Sahara Sunrise eye cream. Now, even though this is a brightening overnight eye mask, I use this during the day too. So like not every day, but if I feel that I'm doing a kind of like eye look which is very heavy, or I know that when I take it off, my eyes are gonna be very sore, then I do use this during the day because it's like just that ultra hydration for me. You know, it's got that hyaluronic acid in there. It helps with fine lines, but it's also great if you have really sensitive eyes. And I feel that this almost adds like a layer of cushioning to my skin, you know, just looks after it, especially when I'm putting a lot of makeup on, like I mentioned. Now, I know that I'm also filming another video after this video, which will come out soon, which is quite like a lot going on with the eyes. Like I said, it's just like cushioning my eye area. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this on because I can usually tell if I need a little bit more, and my eyes like just need it at the moment. So yeah, I think you're gonna like this eye cream because it is brightening, and if you use it on a regular basis, you'll see over time your eye, just the general condition of it gets better. It gets brighter and brighter. It's got caffeine in there as well. Now I'm gonna move on to my face cream, which is the Wind Marrakesh. Marrakesh. Why are my words not coming out? Marrakesh Rich. I think I'm just tired generally because my brother's been over, so it's been, every night has been really kind of like late, and he just flew back today, so I'm just like getting all the filming done that I haven't been able to get done. So that's my moisturizer. Now I am going to apply my primer, which is my Tatcha Silk. It's like liquid canvas primer. This just helps to kind of like, it almost gives a slightly matte finish, but also it's kind of like smoothing for the skin. Now if you are using SPF, you would apply this after your SPF. I haven't put any SPF on because I'm actually not going outside, nor am I in the sun. The curtains are done. Like, I know that, you know, you still need to protect your face, but I don't use it on a daily basis. I just use it when I know I'm exposed to the weather. Just smoothing that on, and now we can move on with makeup. As the title goes, this is a combination of different makeup techniques that can transform your face in a good way. That doesn't mean they are techniques which are going to make you look drastically different. It's just a mixture of them. Some of them do give an illusion of something else. Some of them are kind of disguising certain things. And there are some tips and tricks in here which I feel like for me may be really basic, but for you it might be like, you know, like a light bulb moment where it's like, why didn't I think of that? Like, that honestly makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead with the first one, which is to use concealer on your eyelids, because I know this may seem like it's quite a obvious one if you generally follow my channel, because you will know that I use concealer on my eyelids religiously. Like, I will always put concealer on my eyelids. This is something that I feel like isn't necessarily a technique which is used by a lot of people, because you get so many people using eye primers or not putting any makeup on their lids at all. Or a lot of people actually use color corrector, when personally, if I was working on them, I probably wouldn't use it. It doesn't mean I never use color corrector, but it does mean that a little bit of darkness, like even me, I've got quite a lot of darkness around here. I don't use color corrector because I can get rid of it with concealer. So I'm going to use my Tarte Shape Tape in 35N, and this is 35N medium. And I'm just going to basically put a little bit on my lids here. This is basically a technique that I use that does transform your face, because what it does is it helps to just eradicate those dark circles, but it also helps as your base. So it's your base on your eyelids. You don't need to worry about primer, you don't need to worry about any of that. If you do this exact technique in this order, and I'm talking about like when you apply the powder and everything, you will not have to worry about that crease turning up in the middle of your, like when your eye makeup's on, it's gonna sit perfectly. So we're gonna just get our sponge. I've got my Real Techniques complexion sponge, which is damp, and I'm basically gonna just bounce the sponge over my eyelid. And that's basically taking this product all the way across my eyelid, and you'll see how this just makes my lid look really uniform, like it's just one color. I have not put any color corrector on, and immediately you can see how that is completely smoothed the area. Like there's no kind of discoloration, it's all one color, and I haven't even used color corrector. This is why I feel like a lot of people jump to things like color corrector thinking it's a magic solution, when actually you probably wouldn't even need it. You could probably get rid of the darkness just with concealer if you get the right one and the right shade. I'm gonna go straight in with my powder puff, which is my Laura Mercier powder puff. Just gonna bend it, and I'm just gonna dip it into my powder, which today I am using my Huda Beauty banana bread. It's all over that powder puff, and I'm just gonna press this over my lids here. It's not a crazy amount, but it's also enough to cover the area and nicely kind of like mattify the area. Now what I do is I get my brush, which is my Real Techniques setting brush, nothing on this brush, and I'm just going to go over it, and all I'm doing is just kind of like pressing like that, and that's getting rid of any excess powder. Now I'm going to go ahead and apply my concealer on my under eyes, and I'm going to apply it in a way that kind of like helps to lift the area. I really want you to kind of like snapshot my face just before I actually applied this concealer, because it gives you an idea of the kind of like before and after, like how much of a difference it makes and how it does transform your face. Okay, I am just going to apply a little bit here. I mean, I know this may not be a little bit for you. You apply however much you want, but this is perfect for me. And what I tend to do is just take it up here a bit, because this basically helps to lift the area. I know if you've watched my channel before, then you will know that I generally do this technique all the time, but I really wanted to kind of like talk you through some of the ones you may have already seen before, because it's one thing me doing it and focusing on maybe the eye look that I'm doing, but another thing me doing it and actually breaking it down for you and step by step explaining why I've applied it in those areas. So that's what we're doing today. Now I'm going to go straight in with my sponge, and I'm basically going to just press lightly. The sponge is just kind of like bouncing off up and down on my skin, and I'm following the direction that I applied it, so just up here. And that's basically going to cover my dark circles, which by the way, as you know, I did not apply any color corrector to, but it's also going to just help to lift the area. Now if you feel like you've got a little bit too much concealer on anywhere, just kind of flip the sponge so you can absorb it with the other area of the sponge. Okay, so now I feel like that's covered up, it's brightened the area, but it's also lifted it as well. We're going to go ahead and do this. Okay, now that is done, we're going to go ahead and actually sculpt the face. So you're kind of like carving the face into the shape that you want to carve it into, but obviously you don't just kind of whack it on anywhere. Now I'm going to be using the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer Stick, and this shade is Blaze. Now I really do like this because one, it's like tiny, so it doesn't actually get used up very quickly either, and I love the color. It's super blendable and it's just easy to apply as well. It's almost like this slight gel kind of finish to it, well, texture to it, sorry. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be doing one side of my face first. I'm blending it in because I really want you to see the difference from one side to the other. Okay, what I'm going to do is just apply it here. I prefer bronzer shades. This is a really nice kind of like rich chocolate color, which is perfect for me. I'm going to go from the top of my ear here, and I'm actually going to just bring this in. And you can see how it's come down here. Now what this is doing is really slimming the face and giving me that really chiseled kind of cheekbone. We're not just focusing on this area. By bringing it down, it's actually slimming the lower part of my face too. I'm going to use the fat side of the brush and I'm just going to buff it in now. So this area here, I'm going to go straight into the hairline here. And you'll see it leaves a really nice soft finish. See, it's not hot. Look how easy that was to blend. Like, that's why I love these Milk products, and plus they're good for you. They're clean products. So okay, we're going to keep the shape the same, but I'm just kind of like buffing it together. I'm actually only going over where I've applied it. I'm not moving it around. Can you already see? That's insane, isn't it? Like how much it completely changes the shape of your face. It just gives you that very like that kind of look. And I like it sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes I do like this. I'm gonna go ahead and do this on the other side. Now I'm also going to just very quickly sculpt my nose. So I like to do a little V. This actually makes the tip of your nose look smaller. My main concern is the tip of my nose, and that's why I drew a little V there. And then I do a little one above, but it's not kind of like connected at the top. And then I just basically draw a little line, not too much, because when I start blending it, it kind of like spreads the product around. There you go. Can you see that? So it's a V there and another V at the top with a gap so that we can draw the lines on either side. I'm just going to use my same brush again, but the smaller side. Keep the shape there, but just kind of like buff in the line so it doesn't look so harsh. And that actually makes the tip of my nose look smaller. So another way to transform your nose. There you go, the tip of my nose looks smaller. I'm going back in with my Tarte concealer and I'm going to apply it in certain areas, which are also going to help to like lift those areas, because we've got all that darkness here, I just want to lift it a little bit there so it doesn't look so kind of like dark there. So I'm just going to apply a little bit here, a little bit there on the corners of the mouth, because that helps to lift the corners of the mouth up, but also like if there's any darkness here, which we obviously have from the sculpting, then it helps to lift that area too. So another couple of areas I'm going to apply to is just where I want to brighten the area up. So I usually just go a little bit here. I'm going to press it in with my 146 brush, try and keep it in the same area, just spread it just a little bit. It just helps to just brighten the area up. So here I've done this to just really kind of brighten this up, because I tend to get a lot of darkness around here, or just shadow in general. So the brighter it is, the less shadow you're going to kind of get there. So that's brighten that up. And then here, because it just helps to elongate my face, because I've got quite a round face. See how I'm still keeping it in those areas though? Like it's not being spread out completely. And even though it may look patchy now, once you've got your foundation on, it totally brings it all together. Right now you can see it's patchy in certain areas. Just gonna go ahead and apply my foundation using my Dior Forever foundation in 3W, and I'm just gonna basically buff that onto my face. Make sure you don't go in with any kind of sliding movements. It's gotta be buffing, so like really pressing it into the skin and not moving everything that you've already applied all over the place. Now this is where I'm just going to apply this to this area here, because I want to kind of like lift the cheeks a little bit. I know you can apply it in this area here if you want to, but I'm showing you something which kind of changes the way blush looks completely. This is actually my Hourglass Vanish blush in Sacred, and I like it because it's pigmented. You know, you see what you put on. You know, sometimes you put a blush on and it's just like, where did it go? I'm actually just going to flip the sponge over and I'm just going to like buff this in, and I'll show you how I'm going to really buff it in nicely in a minute. So I go over it initially and it still leaves a bit of mark there. Then I'm going to go back in with my foundation side, and it just kind of like mixes everything into my skin, you know, so it doesn't look like it's so separate. Let's go ahead and set everything. We're going to go in with the powder puff and my powder again, and we're just going to like press this in to the under eyes, just to the under eyes, and kind of go over certain areas. I'm just going to buff this in now using my veil brush. And I'm just dusting off whatever's on my under eye area. I'm very quickly going to do my brows and I'll be back in a sec. I'm back. Now my brows are done and we're going to move on to the next section of the face. So I'm going to be doing my lips, and I'm going to be just applying a little bit of this Milk Electric glossy lip plumper. There's no shade, no color, so it's just literally a clear gloss. I put the smallest amount on. It's just to kind of hydrate my lips and plump them a little bit before I do my lipstick. Now what I usually do is I just blot, and that gets rid of all the excess, but it still leaves my lips nice and kind of hydrated. Now this is where I am going to go in with my lip liner in a second, but before we do that, I just want to show you how you can transform your lips and make them look a little bit kind of bigger that way. There's only a certain way that I can show you because obviously I can't do all of it at once, like all different types of illusions. I'm just going to grab my brush. I'm using my 200 eyeshadow brush from Fenty, and then I'm going to use my Milk matte bronzer in Baked. So this is a slightly different color. It's not so kind of dark, and I'm basically just going like that, right? And what I'm going to do is go underneath my lip line here, just a tiny bit. Honestly, you'll be surprised at how it's easy to kind of really go in with that product until you can physically see it. But it's not about physically, it's not about visually seeing it so much. Like, it just needs to be very, very faint. So just a little bit there and just a little bit there. So that is just above my lip line. Now that is enough, I feel. Yeah, that's enough. Now for me, I haven't put my lip liner on, but I can see that that's made my upper lip look a little bit kind of lifted and my lower lip look a little bit down, you know, like, so it's just coming down a bit more. Now I am going to go in with my lip liner. I'm using my Charlotte Tilbury Iconic Nude, and I'm going to go a little bit above my lip line, just a little bit. And I'm kind of making that a little bit straight, that Cupid's bow there area there. I'm not giving it so much of a dip. But again, that's up to you in terms of like what your preference is. Maybe you like that dip. I prefer it a little bit straighter. And now I'm going a little bit above my lip line. And then I'm going to actually meet my real lip line now. This is a little bit below my lip line. And now I'm going to meet my real lip line. Okay, you should already be kind of starting to see that this area here is very kind of like big like that. Now I'm going to get my lip brush and just kind of blend my lip liner inwards, just so it doesn't look like it's just a line. And don't forget, we've got that really nice hydration from that Milk Electric lip gloss, so it's easy for the lip line to kind of like blend in. Okay, now because I just don't want it completely bare, I'm just gonna add a little bit of gloss. And it is really insane how this whole technique can completely transform your lips. I mean, I'm just like buffing it in. I'm just gonna like pat it in and that's it. Like, how big do my lips look now in comparison to what they looked like before? Like, this in itself, I like this technique because it isn't big all the way around, so your lips don't look like duck lips. It's not like it's just that top area and that lower area, and the rest of it, to me this is the most important part that shouldn't look overlined because it looks really obvious otherwise. So you should always meet your real lip line along the sides of your mouth. That lip gloss was my Fenty Glow Heat, by the way, so it's just a little bit I put on. You can put any kind of lip gloss on, but I feel like it just finishes it off, you know? So, okay, that's done. Now I'm going to be sculpting my face, like finishing off the sculpting with a little bit of bronzer. You can still see how that's really nice and chiseled from that sculpting that we did. But I'm going to go in with my Fenty Shady Biz and my Hourglass Veil brush. And I'm literally just going to kind of like go over the areas that I kind of sculpted earlier. I'm not focusing too much on this area here, but this area here I am. And then I'm just going to apply a little bit here. Now this area here is helping to like slim down the face. This here, by following the shape that we did, it really helps to slim your face. So I find it pretty transforming, to be honest. And then lastly, I'm just gonna add a little bit on my kind of jawline here. Now we're gonna go in with my Fenty 200 brush, and I am literally just gonna very lightly go over my sculpted nose, exactly the same that what we did earlier, but this is just like kind of tiniest bit, not a lot. If I hadn't have sculpted underneath, I would have had to go over with a lot more than what I've just put on. Now let's get our Tom Ford Skin Illuminating Powder Duo in Moodlight, and I'm going for the rose gold shade, and I'm using my 234 brush, just using the tip and drawing a little line here. And then I'm going to also go along here. It just adds a bit of dimension to the whole nose area as well, so it doesn't look so flat. Now I also like adding just a little bit of this sometimes on the tip of my lip, at the bottom, and it just gives you that little bit of kind of dimension. It also makes your lips look just a little bit bigger. So just taking this along the top of my lip line there. Now, even though these are very, very small things that we're doing, it does make a big difference. Like, it just adds that little bit of kind of dimension there when the light hits it. It makes it look a little bit fuller, a bit more three-dimensional, and it just looks nicer. So yeah, I just wanted to show you a combination of different things that you can do to really transform your face in a good way. You know, it's not something that's completely changing the way that you look. I feel like it's something that we can all kind of take away whatever we want to take away from it and incorporate it into your usual makeup routine. So you might take away the kind of sculpting that we did underneath. You might take away just the nose sculpting. You might take away just the lips. But whatever it is, be subtle with it. Don't go OTT with it, and make sure you do blend, but take away that little bit and rewatch it so that you can get it perfect. But I really do hope that that's kind of like helped you understand that there are different things that you can do which are very subtle and not necessarily about changing your look entirely, that can actually transform your face in a good way. So wherever you are in the world, I hope you have the best day ever. I hope you've taken away loads of tips and tricks and you managed to incorporate them into your own makeup routine. If you do like this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button so that you don't miss any of my future videos. Until the next video, take care and I'll see you soon.